Have a look at the French newspapers on France 24 now. Florence VILLEMINOT's with me here. They're reacting, of course, to that attack on the French embassy in Tripoli, aren't they?
That's right. And Libération points out that it came as quite a surprise because up until now, well, Libya hasn't seemed like a country where French interests were at risk. But Libération says, in fact, the south of Libya has become a safe haven for jihadist fighting in Mali. And in fact, some of them are actually being treated there for wounds that they received during fighting. Now, this is because the border, the northern border in Mali is very porous, and Libération says this is what specialists call the mercury effect. If you press on a ball of mercury, the liquid metal will split into lots and lots of other little balls that are impossible to be eliminated. And well, Libération says this is what's happening in the region. French and Malian troops are trying to stamp out Islamists in Mali, and they're just spreading across the region.
The paper's also focusing on austerity policies in Europe and asking whether there's been a bit of a change of heart amongst politicians.
Absolutely. It's on the front page of Libération that wonders, well, are we moving away from austerity? And Libération Inside points out that the winds of change seem to be blowing across Europe. It seems like because of this seemingly never-ending crisis, more and more people are starting to question the effectiveness of austerity policies, including the president of the European Commission, José Manuel Barroso. He admitted that there are limits to austerity, and he said on top of that that for policies to be effective, well, you need to have a minimum of public approval, and that's not quite the case with austerity measures. So are the days counted for austerity? Well, that might be a little extreme, says Libération, but it does seem like there's a change of direction. But for there to be real change, there would need to be a change of heart in Germany, and that seems unlikely for now.
Legalisation of gay marriage, of course, all over the papers.
That's right. L'Humanité, the communist paper, says, let the gay marriages begin. They talk about this historic vote that makes France the 14th country to legalize gay marriage and adoption. Aujourd'hui en France, meanwhile, says, on your mark, get set, go. So people are going to start getting married very soon. They come back on the what happened yesterday in Parliament, the end of this endless odyssey, as they said, after 136 hours of debate. The law was voted. Christiane Taubira, the justice minister, got a long round of applause. There were a lot of long faces for the opposition, UMP. They immediately challenged the law before the Conseil constitutionnel, so the constitutional watchdog here in France.
Now, Le Figaro has been very, very vocal about its opposition to the law. It wonders what the Conseil constitutionnel can actually do, doesn't it?
That's right. Now, the Conseil constitutionnel has 1 month to examine the law and determine whether or not it conforms to the Constitution. Le Figaro points out that legal experts say it's unlikely the Conseil constitutionnel will completely strike the law down, but the opposition is hoping that, well, some parts of the law will be tweaked, especially the parts that talk about adoption and succession. But in theory, the first gay weddings could take place in June.
Debate that sparks such passionate debates, quite muted actually in the press, isn't it? But not on the internet.
That's right. Well, it was quite tame in the press, but I saw some really fun things online. Let's look at some fake front pages. First of all, a fake front page for L'Humanité. We see people say, it says, married but still poor. So that's the communist newspaper, well, fake communist newspaper. Also a fake Le Figaro, so the right-leaning paper. Well, they just have a black screen with the date on it, so 23/04/2013. In their editorial, it says, well, we're in a pickle. Well, that's the way I've translated it. It's a much more rude in French. And then my favorite is the fake Libération. Casse-toi, pauvre conne, with, of course, Brigitte Bardot, the spokeswoman for the anti-gay marriage. I guess you can translate that as, get lost, you horrible person. But once again, that's a tamer translation.
Horrible person. Florence, perfectly translated. Thank you very much for the French newspapers.